With the release of Crash 4, I've been getting the itch to go back and play more Crash games. I mean, the itch actually started with the Insane trilogy, followed by Nitro Fueled, and I thought, why not play some old Crash games and see how those held up compared to now? So when I'm looking at it, I thought, why not do Crash Wrath of Cortex? I mean, that was the original Crash 4 after all, but I think I'll save that for another time. So instead, today I'm going to be taking a look back at Crash Twinsanity. Now, if you were to look up Crash Twinsanity, you'd see a lot of people love this game, but a lot of people also hated the game. And I'm one of the people who actually loved the game as a kid, but I was also 6 when it came out, so I don't think I'm really fair to judge it without playing it again, which is why I'm going to play it again today. Now, upon playing the game again, I can truly say this game is good. I don't think it's great, I don't think it's amazing, I don't think it's bad, I don't think it's mediocre. I think it's just good. And let me explain why. Crash Twinsanity takes place 3 years after the events of Wrath of Cortex. The game opens up with Cortex freezing Coco and trying to lure Crash into his trap. It's here we're thrown into the gameplay. It's at this moment we learn that this is an open world Crash game filled with hidden gems, crates to smash, enemies to fight, and platforming to perform. Now, as far as the enemies in this game goes, most of them are pretty mediocre. I mean, remember how a lot of the enemies in Wrath of Cortex were so poorly placed that they never touched you? Well, in this game, some of the enemies can do nothing but literally touch you. That's it. And majority of the time, I only took damage because I couldn't see them due to the camera angle being so bad. And then there's the platforming itself. Honestly, some really good shit sometimes. I mean, it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Plus, you start the game off with the double jump, which is great since personally, I believe the single jump in this game is one of the worst in any Crash game. Aside from the platforming itself, there's tons of other gameplay styles, including ball rolling, speedrun puzzles, Hamila's skate, we get to play as Cortex, and we even get to play as Nina. And I love her. I gotta say though, the game can be pretty challenging at sometimes, and it's really painful to have to sit through a cutscene that you just saw if you die before you get to another one or a checkpoint. Yeah, Twinsanity has unskippable cutscenes, and actually in this point in the gameplay right here, I got tired of seeing an engine go, and I had saved and closed the game at that point. To continue on so we can talk about the main story of the game itself, I'll quickly knock out some other things that are good and bad about the game. Most of the boss fights aren't that good. The main villains of the game aren't interesting at all. Missing audio from the game really makes the game feel awkward in some points. There's no shadows under bounce crates, so whenever a player is going to land on one, they won't know whether they're going to land on the bounce crate or land in the water. Unskippable cutscenes are really atrocious and can be really aggravating at times. A lot of the cutscenes in this game are awkward due to the missing sound bites. The open world is a nice touch on Crash, and I wouldn't be mad if they actually visited this again in the future. The optional hidden gems are actually a really fun challenge to try, so I recommend trying it. And now that we knocked some of those things out the way, let's go ahead and talk about the main story. The main story of the game is Crash and Cortex working together to stop the evil twins, who are actually failed experiments of Cortex because when he was 8 years old, he accidentally sent them to the 10th dimension. You start the journey in Wampa Island actually going against Cortex, but then you have to work together when you make your way into a cave and you need a way out. You meet the evil twins upon getting out of the cave, and you actually go through a lot with saving Cortex from bears, bees, and Papu Papu minions before making your way to the iceberg layer with him to try to help him stop the evil twins. While you're in this area, you actually have to go against Entropy, Embryo, and you even get to see Dingo Dow before you fight him later on in the game.
I'll be honest, I don't care for most of the boss fights in this game, but I actually did kind of like the Uka Uka one. You do face him during this ice area after you accidentally free him, and after you defeat him, he joins forces with Aku Aku so they can take out the evil twins themselves. I mean, they weren't successful in doing so, but it was still a pretty cool scene to see. After leaving the iceberg area, you do go on to the Academy of Evil, but you have to sneak in through the sewer system. While going through there, you run into Dingo Dow, and you do once again a pretty good boss fight. Probably honestly my favorite one in the game. It's during this time that you find Nina. You also go against Madame Amberly, and Cortex also remembers that he's the reason the evil twins are a thing. After you all get together, you take a trip to the 10th dimension to go fight the evil twins, but upon arriving, Nina's kidnapped by none other than Evil Crash. There is an Evil Crash in the 10th dimension, and I think that's pretty weird, but I also think it's pretty cool. Anyway, after you get Nina back, the three of you actually go to face the evil twins, you win, and that's pretty much it. The evil twins are eaten by Evil Crash, and Cortex accidentally shrinks himself himself down into Crash's brain, and he's surrounded by a bunch of Crashes doing the Crash dance. That's how this game ends, and I think it's a pretty solid ending for a game that was so weird. Now, I do stand by what I said at the beginning of the video. I think the game is good, but I think it had potential to be great if they just got a few more things done and the game wasn't so buggy every now and then. The game, honestly, in my opinion, does deserve some type of remake, not a remaster, but a remake, and I would not be mad if they did try something like that in the future, but at the end of the day, I can see Crash Twinsanity isn't for everyone. But that's it for this video, guys. I know I didn't go too in-depth about the game. I didn't go into depth about every level or everything, but that's because I'm planning on streaming it, hopefully sometime in the future, or at least doing a video series on it. So I hope you stick around for that, and if you're looking forward to that, subscribe. If I stream it, it'll either be here on my channel or it'll be on my Twitch channel, which is the same as my YouTube name. So stick around for that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm done rambling on. This is Riguez, signing out.